I'm 20 seconds early. Like 19 seconds early. Hey gang, nice to see you. So much love to everyone. I need to put on my glasses so I can see. So I can see my beautiful friends, my family. As I've said before, Sebastian. Hey brother, thank you for being with us. As I've said before, I don't have my mother or father, so you guys are my family now. Ben, thank you for joining us, Ben. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to do a little investigation together. Marnix, cool. Thank you, brother, for being here. Julie, I love you, darling. You're so wonderful. Max, thank you. Julie, you have some really cool posts. Nolberto, you know, Nolberto, you are a really savvy guy. I've seen you on a bunch of other really cool channels in the chat. You've got a very good taste for UFO researchers with a lot of integrity. And so I noticed that about you, Nolberto. I'm watching you. How's it? Shambhala! What's up, Shambhala? Hey guys, I want to tell you something about Shambhala. We had this amazing healing the other day, and Shambhala was a part of it. And if you guys want to be part of our healing circle, please just email us, okay? Also, I wanted to let you guys know that Super Sleuth has a power outage in California, so we can just, you know, maybe pray that her power will turn back on. Now, I just saw something that kind of blew my mind for a second. Sebastian just said that he got a phone call from himself from the future, and I don't know if you know that or not, but I had a very similar weird situation when I was 13, a day after I had a UFO experience. Okay, so I don't know if you're saying that just to fuck with me, but that's really, really, really weird that you just bring that up. That just stopped the show dead in its tracks. Mick from Australia, welcome, Mick. Great to see you. Welcome, brother. I miss you, bro. Man, your family from the very beginning. From the very beginning. Let me see what else is here. Okay, so that was Sebastian about that. And then, oh, well, we'll send some prayers for your father, Sebastian, for his heart to be strong. Super Sleuth made it, yay! Well, until the battery dies. You know, speaking of which, let me plug mine in for just a second. Okay, cool, back. It's okay, Sebastian. English is not my first language either. I think mine was like, first language was baby talk. Julie, don't leave early. No. No, Julie. You cannot leave. No, Julie. Julie? No, Julie. Okay, we've got 13 people here, and we are going to be continuing our crowdsourcing investigation of this amazing Peru case. And believe me, gang, this is a major investigation. For those of you who are new to this investigation, we are continuing our ongoing crowdsourced investigation into an international program that is taking place in several places, but a big operation is taking place in Peru. And this operation is apparently between multiple different nations involved in an international effort to understand AAVs, these UFOs. And there's not just one witness, there's not just two witnesses, there's 3 witnesses, and there's some documentation out there. Bubs, thank you so much. We will continue to keep your wife in our prayers over her pancreatic tissues and everything, absolutely. Felix, thank you for being here. Bless you, Felix. Thank you for joining us in this live investigation that we're performing. So, since we started this investigation, we found out a lot of amazing things. We've had more confirmation about these radar sites along the border of Peru, the inside border, from the north all the way down to the south, and then the turn there at Bolivia. And there's multiple other countries apparently involved, but we have very little information on any of that. Much prayers, Bubs. Much love. Kimberly, thank you for being here. I love you, Super. Thank you for making it. So, this is a very serious case because apparently these are, I'll tell you the rumors and stuff that we have some evidence for. That there are numerous radar sites at the top of different mountains, and then there's a few laser sites. And these laser sites apparently have some very, very powerful lasers that work on a big, strong capacitor that releases a bunch of energy. There's a lot of different ways to get at this case. A lot of different angles to get evidence. And we are only limited by our intelligence and our creativity. There's a lot of ways that we can get information about this case if we're really clever and we really think about it. And I know, because we've got 18 people in the room, that you guys are smart enough to figure out creative ways of finding out solutions about this. So let me tell you some more of the information about the case, and maybe something in that will inspire you or give you an idea of some lead to follow or something that we can chase in order to get some more hard evidence on this case, because it's a big, big, big deal. Now, if you guys want, I could do background. I'll answer that later, Felix, because it kind of breaks up everything here, but that's a great question, and it's a difficult question to answer. So, I'm going to give you some more of the information on the Peru case, just so you guys can think about different ways we can get at this. This is like the most difficult mystery or challenge, better than any board game, better than any crossword puzzle. Well, we'll get to that in a minute, Shambhala, where we take the evidence once we get it. Don't worry about that. We'll get the evidence, and the evidence will lead itself. I have a strong feeling. So the case basically goes like this. The military discovered, Peru over time discovered that UFOs were following a kind of highway over the country, and that UFOs were so common, so prevalent. Not only were there college courses and degrees in school, but departments started within the government. And then it became officially embraced, and there's a full-on governmental public investigation going on. And this kind of a policy has also been adopted by several other South American countries, where the amount of visitations are so high that they've completely embraced it. Like, it's totally different culture than here. People accept UFOs. People accept that there's extraterrestrials. It's not a huge deal to them. And I think that's what would happen with us once we got over our cockiness to admit that there are other beings in the universe. So anyway, in Peru, apparently there's a multinational force, and it involves the Department of Energy as well. And the Department of Energy has an intelligence wing. And a lot of people don't know that. And the wing is in charge of keeping the United States in the superior position in terms of power, energy, new technologies, and stuff like that. So the Department of Energy has an espionage force to make sure that the U.S. has the best energy, the best technology, and all that different stuff. And they are heavily involved in this operation, apparently, along with the CIA and some other countries. Apparently China is involved. Russia used to be involved. And there's a group of, I guess it's like a recovery team, and they're composed of ex-special forces and all of this stuff. And they're stationed at several different bases, not just one, but several different bases. So already you can tell there's a lot of leads we could follow. We could follow the bases. We could follow the fact maybe they've got different uniforms. Is there this, that, the other around there? For all of those radar stations and laser sites, there's probably some roads nearby, right? You could use Google Maps and look for roads. We could definitely use Google Maps to our advantage. We could use it to find these radar stations and laser sites. We have that one map that I've shown in brief little moments in videos, and you can grab a still frame. And at one of those locations that's covered by a gray circle, we found something very suspicious. And in our reveal episode, which maybe will be within a week or two when we show all of our best evidence for Peru, we'll show those pictures and stuff. And I'm going to show you some pictures in a minute. But that's another way. If you guys want to do something really cool and discover a UFO secret, you can go onto Google Earth and start looking on the borders. And look at places that are geographically significant, that look geographically significant. One, because they're at the top of a mountain and they have a good range for radar, right? You can be logical about this and use logic and find hard information. They probably didn't hide all those radar stations and laser sites perfectly. I do think, Super, that's a great question. We could get more news out of the Mexican newspapers. We could. But there's, of course, Mexico has a lot, Central America has a lot of UFO sightings. But apparently, even Luis Elizondo said, you know, how important is South America in this whole topic of UFOs? And he said crucial or critical or something like that, crucial. And I think it's because the US government knows how much stuff is happening in Peru and Chile and Venezuela. And want me to go through why, guys? My theory on why there's so much activity there and put all the pieces together? Let me do that. 70s Dave, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, 70s Dave. Really appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to get this other computer. And I'm going to show you my whole belief system on all this stuff. And it makes a lot of sense, I think, in a lot of ways. Why the craft are there, why it's been happening all of this time. I'm going to put all the pieces together, all the way back to the Nazca lines and before. Okay, so let me start with a general principle and a thought for you guys. A thought with you guys, just share a notion. If you're an ultra-advanced civilization, what do you think you would crave the most? What would be the most valuable thing to you? Would it be diamonds? Would it be gold? Really think about it. What would be the most valuable thing to you? Would it be energy? What would be the most valuable thing? Well, I believe data and information. More valuable than gold, more valuable than anything. Data and information is power. Information about this universe is power. Remember how powerful just the information about an atom was? Just knowing that information about a power of the atom created nuclear weapons. So I think to an advanced civilization, data and information would be one of the very most important things. And if you look around the universe and you look at life forms are one of the densest forms of data. There is so much data crammed into a life form, not just in the biological structure and how different things work, but also in the social structure and in the consciousness and in the interactions in different systems. It's amazingly complex stuff, and there's stunningly valuable information in all of that. Stunningly valuable information. And in all the associated information. With the information you get from all of that stuff, you can have tremendous power. Tremendous power. And that's kind of what we do as humans to a certain degree. We study things we want to learn, and that studying and that learning is power for us. That's why we're an advanced civilization. So I believe advanced civilizations crave knowledge, data, and power. I think they send probes out into the universe. I think they've probably been monitoring this planet for a long time because it had life and all the components of life and the possibilities for life. And when you look at our planet, where is one of the richest, where are the richest places of life on Earth? Where's the richest places of life? Well, it seems to me that the richest locations for life is, of course, the oceans, but also the rainforest, the Amazon. The rainforest is very dense with life. The systems down to the tiniest microbes is so dramatic, so amazing. And I believe the reason that they are visiting us and they are here is because they are traveling back and forth, to and fro, the Amazon. And if you look at any maps, you'll see that the Amazon is accessed wonderfully from Peru. You're just coming from the coast, whoop, right in, you're right there. 631, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. So I'm going to pull up a map and just show you a little bit. I don't want to insult your intelligence because I know you guys are super smart already. But Peru, geographically, is a great entrance point if you are interested in getting into the rainforest. Okay, so I'm going to pull up this little picture here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And if you really look at the rainforest, it's down to this small area now. The densest part of the rainforest, it's down to a very small area. Okay, so I'm going to turn around the camera here for a minute. Oopsie doopsie. Okay. So here we go. Of course we have Peru. And the rainforest that's left is really like right here. Although this is all green because it's Brazil. But let's go to another map here. Let's look at some stuff here for a second. All right. Hopefully we can pull out. You see how the main part of the rainforest is right here. You see that, gang? This is the richest rainforest locations on Earth left right now. They are the richest locations right here. And as you come in, though, it's very, very sad. You can zoom in, and in the richest, most beautiful areas, you see some really disgusting stuff as you zoom in. The clear cutting is so horrific and so complete. The amount of devastation that's happening in the rainforest is horrific. It is really, really, really horrific. I want you guys to look at a couple things here real quick. Okay, so Cusco and the Nazca lines and stuff are over here. See, there's Cusco. And I believe that these craft have been flying over the coast and into the rainforest on kind of a superhighway. All right? And that's why the native people created these glyphs that can only be seen from the sky. Because these glyphs are huge. Those animal glyphs, guys, are absolutely massive. And I believe those alien glyphs were put there in the Nazca region because these craft were flying over. So they were coming from west to east, traveling right over the desert and into the rainforest. And what they're doing in the rainforest is what I've been kind of saying for a long time, is they are gathering data. They're gathering actual physical samples of data, but they're also gathering information on the different systems and how they interrelate and how they correlate, but they're also getting a lot of physical, biological data. And I'll tell you why I believe that and how I believe they're doing that. I believe there are smaller craft that are not visible. Because as we've talked about in previous theories, the closer you get to the surface of the Earth, there's a greater chance there's more smaller craft, and as you get closer to the surface of the Earth, there's a greater need for them to maintain invisibility. And especially if they were small probes, like the ones we've shown. Remember the one that's this big that the US government made? A mosquito? What if those little probes are going through the rainforest and picking up stuff? Let's say they come from a Tic Tac. Remember the Tic Tac has those two little L things underneath the craft of the Tic Tac? Maybe they're leaving from those little L's, flying around, getting their data samples that they've been asked to go get in the rainforest. And they come back and go into the little L's and into the craft. And then that Tic Tac flies out to the ocean to a larger saucer. If you guys have seen the videos and know the order of events with the Nimitz case, they bring the samples to the saucer. Think about it, gang. The only reason why a Tic Tac would need to rendezvous with the saucer, why would they have to rendezvous? If it was data or information, they could easily send it electronically. It would have to be something physical that they needed to exchange. It has to be something physical. And so I would think that it's biological samples. So I believe that they're exchanging biological samples, and they can also exchange other things like fuel or other things they might need to exchange. And then that saucer goes to a base underwater and stores it. Exactly. And there's a base off the coast of California. And that's, I think, that whole chain of events. And that's why South America is so popular right now. That's why South America is so hot of a location. And that's why the director of a UFO program said that Peru and South America were the most crucial thing right now going on. So, gang, I ask you to help us with our Peru investigation. I ask you to join us, please, and help brainstorm solutions and ideas and ways that we can get more information on this amazing case. Okay? So, here we go. Let me dive into some of my theories and thoughts and some of the information I have. Okay? I think if you look logically at the map of Peru, if you wanted to place some radar sites and laser sites, where would you place them? You would likely, oh, I've got low battery. I gotta plug in. You would likely place them in places of high strategic value, right? Of course you would. One of the places you'd probably want to place them is right across the corridor of where the Nazca lines are, right? So you take the corridor of the Nazca lines, which is where, where's Nazca again? It's up here somewhere, I think. Oh, here it is. Here's Nazca. Here's Nazca right here. You take the line that Nazca is on, and you check this whole area right here. Right, all of these right here. Because that's Nazca, so the craft are probably flying right over Nazca somehow. So we pull out. They're coming in from over here. So I would look places like the tip here would be a great place to put a satellite location, right, gang? Or a laser site. So I ask you guys to do that, to think of other ways that we can find out more information about this amazing, ongoing UFO project. It's a little dangerous, gang, actually. You know, this is not a widely known, popular. Of course, Ben. Of course, Ben. The Nazca lines are right there, right here. And I think the reason why there's all these giant petroglyphs that really only can be seen from the sky. Gang, if you do the research and look at those giant animals, which were the first ones, before the lines even, the giant animals were first. Look at those animals, gang, from the ground. Look what they look like from the ground, gang. You cannot see what the crap they are. You just can't. You can't tell most of them. Now, there's this one guy who's on a wall, okay? He's on a mountainside. And the weird part is he's got a big head with big eyes. Okay, that could be coincidence, cultural coincidence. But a really interesting fact about it is he's raising his right arm, like he's waving almost, like, hello, hi, aliens. Hello, hi, we're friends. And and if you look at the geography around those giant petroglyphs of the animals, it's not like they could get up on a mountain and then look down and be like, oh, look at the giant monkey. Look at the giant hummingbird. They couldn't do that. So it's really, really amazing. So, gang, you can investigate all along the border here, and I ask you to do that. Investigate locations that look like they're likely or really cool, like this point in here, right? That would be a cool place. Follow roads. If you use Google Maps, you're going to see some roads. That'll help us get to some of these locations. Places like this that are deep into the rainforest, the edge down here, I would think those would have some. The map that we have is of down here, and it shows them running right here. And I'm going to show you in a second one of the locations that just looks really suspicious to us. But we would love it if you guys gave us your brain power on this case. Now, we know a few people in the area who go to Peru and come back and forth from Peru, and we're asking them for more information. And if you guys have any friends or relatives, let us know, okay? Or if you have any cool ideas on how to get information. They have open, acknowledged UFO programs. Maybe you can reach out to them about this case. So think about that for a second. Hold on, let me do something here really quick. I just want to make sure I'm using low power as possible because I want this feed to keep going. Okay, good, I'm back. What other ways could we get at this case? I was just trying to brainstorm. What other ways could we do it? Well, of course, we could follow roads and look for decent roads, right? That the military could utilize for trucks and stuff to refuel these radar stations and up the soldiers. We could look for vantage points for the radar equipment. We could look for power lines, although they probably are self-contained power. What do you guys think? Those bases would be self-contained power? Most likely, right? We could look for geographical areas and strategic areas with good border lines. And we could look for good potential ET egress areas. We could think about that too. So we can go back to the other map and say to ourselves, where would they come in? Would they come in from the north? Would they come in from the south? It's an interesting question. What direction would the ETs come in from? Yes, gang, I'm sorry. The super chat's not working because I have to like verify my bank. And I'm going to flip this upside down. Maybe you guys will turn, oops, I have to rotate the device back this way. Okay. I had to verify my address and bank and all this stuff, and I didn't do the address and the bank verification. I did the bank verification, but not the address thing yet, because there's something in the mail I didn't get. So anyway, if you wanted to donate anything, you could do PayPal, and we would appreciate it so much. That's so thoughtful and caring. What was Super Sleuth's point? I didn't get to read it. Let me go back and read here for a second. Super Sleuth. What about older satellite images? Now, that is an awesome idea, Super. What we could do is go to Google Earth, and they have a year scroller, and you can scroll back through the years. You can go backwards in the years, and that's a great idea. I really like that a lot, Super. Thank you. I just saw another comment that looked really interesting, too, about a secret base. Let me see who said that. Oh, 70s Dave said there's a secret U.S. base in Pichari in that same corridor in the south. Interesting. So we'll go to Pachari and look for that secret base and get some pictures, gang. Let's do that. That's important information. I love that. So I'm gonna write that down for us. Secret base in Pachari. Awesome. That's, see, we're moving, gang. We're getting somewhere. Now we also have someone who's actually reaching out to Wygand, who's the gentleman from Dr. Greer's site. I'm also trying to follow up a lead from one of the pieces of document that I have. I got one of the documents validated by Grant Cameron's document guy. And that document was about a UFO incident that stopped traffic at the airport for 30 minutes. It discussed how many flights were blocked, military jets were scrambled. It was a fleet of UFOs, like 30 of them. And every time the jets scrambled and tried to get near them, they would literally scatter like kids in trouble. And then the jets would turn around and go back to base, and they'd come back like tee-hee-hee-hee-hee. And the same exact thing would happen. They'd scramble the jets and go back after them, and they'd scatter. And apparently there's a lot of cat and mouse going on in this region, gang. And the story also is that the U.S. has shot down at least 2 of these craft. There's a Wygand craft, and I believe that one was shot down in the 90s. And there's also one that was shot down in the early 2000s. And so that's at least 2 craft shot down. And I would believe there might be more. So I'm highly concerned. Also, South America, it's not just Peru. These other countries that surround the rainforest, all of them have some degree of sightings. And I think it's important to be kind of realistic about what's going on there. So let's take a little look here at some of these images I have, if I can find it. Peru. All right, let's dive into Peru if we can. Okay, Peru. When you look at the globe down here, when you look at South America, you realize that Venezuela up here, Chile, Brazil, there's a lot of activity, and it's all coming towards the center of the rainforest. Why do you guys think they're going to the rainforest? What do you guys think they're doing? Why is there so much activity in South America? Do you guys think they're mining in the rainforest? What are they doing? There is no doubt that there is major, major activity in South America, and that the U.S. government is working with South American governments. And I think we can find out more information. Let's go back to the sheet of paper and try and brainstorm some more ideas. Gold. You know, I used to think that early on when I, like years ago, and also monatomic gold and some of those things I explored. But I realized in other places in space, gold would concentrate in much higher levels, and they wouldn't have to get it in the thin little veins we get here on Earth. But maybe I'm wrong. Julian, thank you for being here. I believe that's true, super. Rainforest medicinals. They used to live here thousands of years ago, made the megastructures. I think they could have been, they could be our parents. This could be a zoo. They could have realized this planet had the right geological conditions, and they spiced it up. There's something called the Cambrian explosion, where life just did an amazing amount of evolution in just thousands of years. Not hundreds of thousands, like thousands of years. Something very bizarre happened. And there's been several major funnel points for life on Earth. And if you look at the universe, there should be so many different forms of life out there, right? The universe should be teeming with life. And so there's the Fermi paradox. And the Fermi paradox says, where is everybody? How come everyone's not showing themselves? Maybe, just maybe, I've got a theory. And the theory is that even though civilization may be 10,000 years more advanced than us, and be like, oh, I don't care if anyone younger than me sees me, but they might be concerned that there's civilizations out there that are 100,000 years more advanced than them. So they would say, you know what, it's probably better for me to be invisible. So I think most are invisible for that very reason. Third phase of moon. Is that the real third phase of moon? Really? Is that really the brothers? It can't really be the brothers. Ayn, I love you, sister. Thank you for being here. So, I forgot where I was because I was stunned that third phase of moon was here potentially. So, these creatures are visiting us, gang. This advanced civilization is visiting us. And think about it. If there's advanced civilizations out there that are hiding, they're hiding for... Is it really you and Brett? Wow, no way. I've been watching you guys for years. No way. It's not you guys. It's impossible. You're not really in Hawaii right now. No way. It's impossible. It's impossible. I don't even believe it. I'm not believing it. I'm starstruck. Here's one of my theories. My theory is that civilizations, all of them hide because it's the most wise thing to do because there could always be a more advanced civilization out there. And that's the solution to the Fermi paradox. And not only that, advanced civilizations, all of them, realize the power of technology. All advanced civilizations realize the power of some sort of technology. And at some point, I think all biological forms of life have the option of losing their biologicalness and becoming non-biological. And it sounds crazy, but it's not at all. If you had the choice of becoming immortal, having superpowers, joining a hive mentality where you could share thoughts or even live through other people. I mean, all these different benefits of being in a hive mentality in a super advanced civilization is very tempting. I could see myself saying, well, maybe I would do it. So it's very possible that biological life being super advanced is only a short period of time before it decides to go completely non-biological and become super powerful. And maybe it's conceivable that there is a race throughout the universe of non-biologicals versus the biologicals to garner and garner more space. And maybe we've been watched by the biological versions. Someone is watching us. Someone is here in great numbers. And from the military reports that we've talked about on this channel, and that we've looked at, from a majority of all the major naval training exercises around the world having some sort of UFO encounter, that is stunning information. Luis Elizondo himself said, in just those short years, they had collected tons, literally tons of data and information. I think that's really speaks for itself, guys. And I also think the information that the military doctor gave us the other day that we spoke about was very stunning information about the medical injuries from UFOs. Let's talk about that for a second. because I think that is an ugly point, but it brings up some major, major issues that concern all of us, okay? Let's dive in for a second. So Annie, what's her name? Forgetting, who wrote the Phenomena book, and also on the above top secret website, they've been talking about the dangerous effects of being near a UFO. South American alien megastructure. Oh, cool, guys. We will check that out. I would love to check it out. I would love to see you guys doing more live stuff, live streaming together, and I want to see you guys capturing more bolts of lightning while Blake runs through the rain. That's pretty awesome, right? You can tell I watch, right? Then you should do another movie with aliens in it. Who wrote the book? No, it wasn't. It was Annie something who wrote the Phenomena book. Anyway, guys, look at this. This is stunning stuff and stunning information. All right? This picture right here, this MRI scan, as you guys can read, is from a patient who died after exposure to a UFO. Look at this, guys. And I'm going to read what it says for you. Patient 1, following near-field exposure to unidentified aerial craft at 500 meters. Patient died 2 weeks later. Annie Jacobson, that's who it was. Thank you so much, Super Sleuth. I really appreciate it. No one's talking about this, guys, and this is big, big news for a bunch of different reasons. A bunch of different reasons. Look at this damage to the brains, okay? If you want nuts and bolts proof of UFOs, you're looking at it. This is proof of UFOs like nobody's freaking business, right? And this white matter is very interesting. Do you know what the neurologists call it? They don't call it tumors, they don't call it scars, or the medical terms for that. The doctors are calling them UBOs, unexplained bright objects. They're showing up on the MRIs bright. They're unexplained because they don't truly understand them, but it's obviously from the near-field exposure to these UFOs. Yes, Ayn, this is true, but I'm going to put the pieces together for you. It took me a while to figure this out. Now, I want you to hear this information. This is crazy. This doctor said that he's treated over 100 of these patients, that they were all referred to him, and that 25% of them die within the first 7 years. Yeah, that's huge. Yan, thank you so much for being here. Love you, Yan. Thank you. So I'm going to show you these quotes and this information about these people dying within 7 years, 25% of them who get these brain injuries. And don't you guys think it's a little suspicious and a little interesting that all of these soldiers and people are being referred to this one doctor or to these few couple of doctors? The military knows something's going on here, guys. This is real data. This is real facts. This is nuts and bolts like nobody's business. Okay? Yes, it was Annie Jacobson from Phenomena. If you get Annie Jacobson's Phenomena book, you'll get a lot of this information in there. And this is crucial information, guys. Think about it. If people are dying from exposures to UFOs, our soldiers are dying from exposures to UFOs, we should know about it, damn it. And we should know that it's a danger, and we should know all of this stuff. So, but let me read to you guys who has been getting injured. Now, this is crucial to my theory, okay? Listen to him describe the caliber of the people injured, okay? What he says here is, also I want you guys to know that it's ionizing and non-ionizing radiation, meaning it's microwaves, and also for some reason there's also gamma rays being emitted. So I think that's important too. So okay, here we go. Here are the type of patients. This is absolutely goofy. Give me 1 second, guys. Here we go. I'm going to show you the screen so you can read. Yeah, gamma rays are very high energy radiation. So you have to wonder where those are coming from. All right, I'm going to read it for you. He accepted his patients very carefully. They are all high-functioning individuals, many prodigious savants, most of whom carry high security clearance. They are members of special forces, members of the intelligence community. Listen to this one. Members of aerospace companies. Officers in the military, guards at military bases, policemen. Listen to this. Often injuries take place of a military bivouac, which is an overnight mission at a secure location for the purpose of guarding, reconnaissance, or some kind of exploration. Wow. That's a very high caliber group of injured people. Right, gang? Now, let me put my theory together for you. There was an incident called Cash Landrum. Cash Landrum is when a giant diamond-shaped UFO came down in Texas, and it was spitting fire out the bottom of it. And these two ladies and a kid were driving down this little Texas road and see it. And they get out of the car and they see it, and there's 23 giant Chinook helicopters around this craft. And that thing shoots down fire, and they get covered in radiation. They get radiation burns. We did an episode on it and talked about it. And basically that was in the 80s. And what happened was the US was obviously working on an early nuclear rocket engine. It's obvious that that's a natural progression. We were using nuclear for submarines, for aircraft carriers. It's a logical step to try a nuclear rocket engine. But it's very dangerous because they're not easy to keep clean. So that's what happened with Cash Landrum, and someone got injured. Whenever you start any technology that's very powerful early, oftentimes people get injured. So now, if you look carefully, people are getting injured, as the doctor even says, in the aerospace industry, members of the intelligence community, employees of aerospace companies, guards. So what I think has happened, gang, is that the US has some sort of anti-gravity craft that requires tremendously powerful electromagnetic fields, and something that's powering it that's spitting out gamma rays. Because think about it. If you have to have something be anti-gravity, you need it to be as light as possible. But when you're dealing with a lot of power and a nuclear reactor, the problem with a nuclear reactor is it needs a lot of shielding. So they had to take off some of the shielding, because shielding is as heavy no matter what. That's the bottom line about shielding. It has to be heavy. So the US is flying around a craft that uses massive rotating electromagnetic, probably two toroids like we talked about in the past. And the craft sits in the dielectric plane in the donut. And what's powering it is a sloppy, crappy nuclear engine that's not shielded well, just like Cash Landrum. And that's why all these American soldiers and innocent people are getting irradiated. Because I don't think those people and those injuries are coming from advanced civilizations that's traveled across the universe. I have a feeling that their craft are more efficient than to waste any radiation. I think their crafts are so efficient, they waste nothing. So I have a strong belief that these are our craft. And a way to tell what we're doing in the US military, because we've got no ethics, is find out where the people are getting hurt with weird injuries and reverse trace that back, and it'll end up being a military application. Some experiment, some weird things going on somewhere. Let's find out. Now, here's where it gets really kind of ugly and weird. All of this stuff kind of ties together in a weird way to something else. A lot of research has been going on this stuff for a long time with the brain and microwaves. Other doctors have been investigating this for 40 years. There's another doctor named Richard Charles Niemtzvalve, okay? And he was working on a lot of different aspects of this microwave injuries, okay? And they noticed a lot of really weird things. They noticed that the French government was working on microwaves and specializing in microwaves and how they damaged human tissue and organic tissues. And other governments were working on pulsed high millimeter waves, microwaves of different types. Now, when you put that together with what just happened in Cuba, do you remember? Everyone who went to the U.S. Embassy in Cuba were getting these incredibly similar injuries. And then in China, another embassy, the same thing. Cuba and in China, getting these microwave injuries. So it's all very weird. Right, gang? It's even possible that other countries are hitting us with microwaves to reduce our health and everything. And when you look at how powerful your own microwave oven is and how dangerous it is without the shielding, it's amazing. Okay, so anyway, we're going to circle back to Peru again. There has to be more ways for us to get answers on Peru, gang. We're only limited by our creativity and our tenacity. And if what's happening in Peru is happening, and we strongly believe it is, it's an incredibly immoral program. What they're doing is they're shooting down living creatures that are trying to preserve our biosphere, essentially. And it would be great to have your guys' help. So if any of you guys could do some research or brainstorm or think of any ways, if you've got a little detective ability in you or like solving mysteries or like using your brain power to do something cool, modern society and technology is very powerful now, and we can find out what's going on there. And I'm going to go down there someday. I'm going to fly to Peru one day. The universe is going to work it all out. Anyway, some very cool things are also going on with us, gang. We're working on a research project, and hopefully it might get funded, God willing. We just submitted one, so we'll see. Also wanted to let you guys know one other thing. The super chat's not working, so if you do PayPal, we would love you forever, and I would still do a dance. All right, let's go back to, is there anything you guys, I think we're okay for Peru. We've been at about 1 hour now, which is pretty awesome. Do you guys want to go to 2 hours, or do you want to do an hour and a half? What do you guys think? I think we should do another half hour maybe, and then we'll wrap it up for tonight. Okay, do anyone have any questions? Do you guys want to do some questions for the last half hour? What do you guys think? Oh, you know what? I didn't show you the picture of Peru, one of the locations that we thought was a hot spot, too. So let me pull that up, because I think you might like that. Remote viewing exercises. Yes, they are fun. They are fun. And we could do some psi exercises another time, too. I think that would be really fun, a class, just psi exercises. I thought it was really cool when we did the remote viewing session. You guys, everybody, almost everybody got a mostly circular object for the target, and it was a pie. How cool was that? That was amazing. That was statistically off the charts. Really weird, right? Right. Okay, I don't even remember what I was doing. What was I doing? I don't remember. Okay, similar between Cash Landrum and Rendlesham. The difference that I see between Cash Landrum and Rendlesham is the similarities are, and things that are very suspicious, is John Burroughs, and that's a brilliant question, Omar, by the way, or whoever said that question. 70s Dave, is a really good question, because there's a lot of similarities and differences between Cash Landrum and Rendlesham. The similarities are like having problems with the medical records. Burroughs' medical records were classified. Why would they classify his medical records if it was an alien? Maybe they would classify it if it was a U.S. project and could be a liability. That would seem like a reason to classify it. I think the things that make it different, though, is I truly believe Cash Landrum was an earthly U.S. project. It might have been a E.T. craft, and they couldn't do it right, so they put a sloppy, crappy engine in it. And that's where they had 23 helicopters around it. But Rendlesham, I think, was a real deal case. Too many weird things happened, too many craft doing too many weird things that earthly craft just can't do. And when it flew over the nuclear site and sent the beams of light down into them, that's a classic UFO maneuver. So that's some of the things I think, that are different between the two cases. But that's a brilliant question, but I do think it's interesting that with Cash Landrum, there were physical injuries from being close to the craft, and Burroughs did get some physical injuries from being close to the craft too. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but he had a heart issue, and a doctor discovered it, and I think they attributed it to that incident. So, and being close to that field. Very weird, right? Very weird. Okay, does anyone have any questions? Anybody have any questions on anything? Well, I pull up a picture here that I think might be a site in Peru. I'm not sure. Ever thought about producing an update to the Golden Record NASA release, except for the more open update? Oh, hold on a second. That's an interesting question. Ever thought about producing an update to the Golden Record NASA release, except with a more open AP take on useful info to pass on to ETs? That's a cool idea. What information would we pass on to ETs? That's a really cool idea. Well, I think, for us and the group, we've been focusing more on how to initiate contact and share contact with an ET. I think the first contact is we should make a new gold record based on our beliefs in what is the proper form of communication. First form of communication with a new civilization. It shouldn't be, here's the prime numbers. Here's a picture of me naked. What are we doing? Isn't that ridiculous? That's not how you greet someone for the first time. Here's Loud Rock. Here's me naked. Here's prime numbers. No. The whole reason why this channel is called the Advanced Protocols is we believe that most people have missed the point completely. And our experiences have proved at least part of what our protocols are doing is correct, because we've had some really interesting stuff happen. You guys know from UFO history, there's been many occasions, time and time again, where a contactee and a UFO will exchange signals of some kind. Flash, 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 right? There's a real communication going back and forth. Why do you guys think that happens? There's a real communication going on there, a real possibility for communication going on there. And humans don't know what to do after like the second or third flash. And the advanced civilization is like, oh, forget it. And they go to their pre-established, pre-programmed protocols that are a priority. But they're looking for the universal form of communication, the universal responses. And the responses aren't the ones I think we're overthinking. I think it's something much simpler, much more respectful, much more universal between any two living creatures. I think you guys are starting to feel what it is. I'll explain my belief in it. And my belief is it is about the most basic universal forms of communication. Most basic universal forms of communication. Meaning, if I do something and you do something and we mimic each other, okay, we're safe. That's a positive thing. We're safe. Okay, I get to know a lot. You can find out a lot about someone if they mimic. That's a tremendous amount of information. Think about it. Think about all the different stuff you learn about someone if they mimic. Now, I believe that if you do something very passive, they will see that you're doing something passive, and they will appreciate that. The analogy I've used before is deer, wild deer. It doesn't quite work like wild deer exactly. But there are some people who've gotten a relationship with wild deer so close over time that the deer will actually come into the kitchen and eat out of their hand. And that relationship has taken a year to develop the mutual respect. Everyone knows they're safe. Everyone knows they're okay. And Jane Goodall practiced that with apes. And a lot of naturalists have learned that. But linguists don't understand this. You can bring in 1,000 linguists and they're not going to understand universal passive communication. There are other things that are part of passive communication. There are different sounds and tones that reflect different emotions. When you go, both of those have different meanings. Our pets and animals make those noises, right? What does that mean? Do you kind of get the sense of what that means? Babies and dogs and other animals do that same noise I just made. It's a looking for attention, high-pitched noise. There's universal notes, sounds. There's universal physical actions. Lowering oneself and being supine is a universal supplication, a passivity. Have you ever noticed when you open your hands and lower yourself to a dog, they feel a lot more comfortable? They'll lower their head a little bit and they'll come closer to try and smell you. Anyway, so that's that stuff. Any more questions? If you guys have any questions before we go, we could put them in caps and we'll dive into them. But please do some Peru UFO stuff, guys. Please do some Peru investigation stuff if you can, or Malmstrom stuff. How about the portals that you... Oh, man, Dougie, don't do it to me, brother. That's the stuff I hate. I just don't want to talk about because we're in the process of that stuff. And it's mind freaking... It's a mind freak. It is a mind twist. It is a mind twist. That stuff's very intense. That stuff is very intense. It's very intense. And I haven't even spoken 100% about that stuff with my closest people, even my closest friends. Even Super doesn't know everything. There's very intense stuff going on. Why don't I tell you guys about the alien species that I think are most probable? How about that? Would you rather do that, or would you rather stay on the portals? It's up to you, my friends. Okay. Well, the alien species that I think are the most probable... hopefully I have this document still. I do. Who are the ETs? Bad versus good. I think there are a bunch of non-biological ETs that are spreading across the universe like a virus. And these non-biologicals have less of a care and concern for biologicals because they've surpassed them. They're more roach-like to the non-biologicals, although they may have some respect for them, whatever. And I think groups of the biologicals have banded together to prevent the spread of too many non-biologicals into different regions and can deter them for a bunch of different things. And I think there may even be evidence from history that this is possible. In 1561, there's that famous wood carving. You guys remember this case? Oh, where is it? Oh, I just lost it. Okay, here it is. There's the famous wood carving about the battle in the sky. And perhaps that was the biologicals versus the non-biologicals. And then in 1566, I forget which one it was like Sweden or Norway. 5 years apart, there were two different massive battles in the sky that were so big, such big news. Nuremberg, that's right. I did an episode on it and I can't even remember myself. That they had battles in the sky. That is freaking amazing. Right, guys? Perhaps that is what's going on in terms of in the background. But the different species, I believe, that exist are, there's first generation species and then second generation species, okay? And first I want to talk about the mantids. Let's go there, the mantids. I like the mantids, actually. From my understanding, the mantids are the most psychically powerful. They're very strongly into, of course, technology, but it's nothing that they, you know, gloat about or anything. The mantids are very pragmatic, highly psychic. They are also the bestowers of psychic power, and they will be the conveyors of psychic powers for others. If you remember, the very famous and one of the most powerful psychokinetic people on Earth, Ted Owens, the PK Man, Jeffrey Mishlov's book, Czar, thank you for being here. The PK Man attributed his powers to two mantids called Twitter and Tweeter. And that's where he got his amazing powers of psychokinesis. And if you don't think psychokinesis is real, I think you need to read that book. I think you need to check it out, some of the stunning stuff he did. One of the stunning things he did is he was at a newspaper, and they're like, nah, you can't do psychokinesis. He's like, yeah, I can. And they're like, okay, make a lightning bolt go outside, something like that. And so he's like, okay. And he concentrated for a minute, and it was like near a light pole, I think it was supposed to be. And a freaking lightning bolt, you know, all these witnesses. That's pretty amazing. And he had over 160 predictions that came true, big predictions. And he attributed them to mantids. He attributed the power to mantids. But also, time and time again, in a lot of stories, mantids have been the ones who were supposedly bestowed a lot of psychic powers. They're also protectors of life. For some reason, they've got like a thing to protect life. So, and they crave knowledge as well. Of course, there's the tall whites, who are, of course, incredibly benevolent, maternal. They really lean heavily on technology. They are very much caretakers and bestowers, not more of psychic powers, but more bestowers of technology and information and knowledge, and highly spiritually evolved. They use a lot of holograms. They live around Jupiter, and they have bases here on Earth in a lot of mountains. This is stuff that's not normally on the channel. This is all the stuff based on all the research. So this is not stuff I'm saying is hard science or any of that stuff. This is all that just, you know, fun exploration side of it. whether I believe in this part or not, this is up for you guys to ponder. But this is the stuff that I think is pretty interesting. So next are the, there's a lot more to get into with the tall whites, but they're also associated with a lot of portals. They also do a lot of medical stuff, unfortunately. Mantises also work with tall whites on occasion and are involved with medical stuff together, apparently, in a lot of stories. I think they're very separate, though. Who knows? Then there's the Emerthers. The Emerthers are a group that kind of look like a version of a gray and a human, but a small. It's not a good description, but they're kind of bone-colored instead of gray, like the grays. And they've got more normal eyes and a more normal-shaped head and a more normal-shaped chin. They're more like angel kind of creatures. They're friendly. They're emotional, inquisitive. In that famous Ariel school, they're the ones who are jumping around playing so they can be inquisitive and playful. Thank you, Yan. I will say hello. I will. I don't know how the Pleiadians correlate. I've heard a lot of correlations with the Pleiadians and the tall whites, and that's the same race, actually, and that's where they originated from. I'm not sure. I don't really understand any of that stuff. Sometimes when you start talking about this, it just sounds like a Star Trek episode, and there's no way to really know any of it, you know, and it sounds hilarious. It's like the Flubians are with the Goldargians, and their two Flaflarians were Dagarian the Fligolzels. You're like, huh? What's it? What? You just lost all credibility. So then there are, and this is something that's from statistical case studies. Oftentimes, time and time again, there are these second-generation species. And second-generation species are creatures created by another race for a purpose. And these second-generation creatures are oftentimes grays, the small grays, and other creatures designed to be in these spaceships for space flight. They're designed to be like kind of super advanced robots, essentially. So that's what these second-generation life forms are. And oftentimes people think almost everything that would be on any kind of spaceship you would think would be some form of second-generation life form. Because why would you risk your real life when, if technology is so advanced, you could live or even see through an avatar, right? So I think almost all of these creatures are avatars of some kind, extremely advanced biorobotics, essentially. Zara is a third generation. Interesting. Interesting, okay. There are also other forms of second generation life forms that are reported a lot in cases. And robots have been reported a lot, surprisingly. Really interesting and weird robots, too. Giant ones that walk like two arms, two legs, and also rolling ones with spikes and stuff. I would love to see a comprehensive study on just UFO robots alone. That would be really interesting. Okay, we're going to answer some questions, and then we're going to wrap it up soon, gang, okay? I really appreciate your time. I think it is so freaking cool to crowdsource a UFO investigation. And I think it is really freaking cool that we're doing it together. So please submit your questions in all caps so we can read them easily. Please support the channel. You could use a PayPal. We would really super appreciate it. And we've got some really cool stuff coming up. And at the end of this, we're going to do a prayer because the number of people in this room can really make a difference with our prayers. So if you have any questions or anything you want to dive into, we'll do that we'll dive into a couple more questions if anyone wants to, and if not, we'll just call it an evening. Let me see if there's any questions I missed. Let me scroll up. Billy Meyer. I'm really not a huge Billy Meyer believer. I think some of his stuff was real, and then he went over the fence. He just went too far. I think he was brilliant, though. He was really clever. Kind of like a Stan Romanek. Do you guys know who Stan Romanek is? he's very believable at the beginning, and I think maybe he had a real experience, but then started faking, and it became ridiculous. Okay, questions. Let me see if there's any question. Oh, 631's question didn't show up. Damn you, question-stealing YouTube machine. Someone's going to ask, what are my experiences? Okay, all right, I'll tell you one thing about the portals. Hypothetically, let's say if there were ever any portal-like experiences that I've ever experienced, hypothetically, they would come in two different shapes that I would have hypothetically seen in person. Let's say if it's conceivable. Let's talk about a hypothetical story about a friend of mine, let's say. A friend of mine told me that, Ain, thank you, love you. A friend of mine told me that he has seen two different types of portals. And one is a small one that is kind of like a small smoky arch that has a yellow arc in the background when both sides are complete. And the other one is a big kind of like cloud that's low-hanging to the ground that is only around a limited area, no bigger than maybe 100 feet. And both are two totally different experiences, two totally different things happen. The small one with the archway on the yellow archway is for transportation. And some stuff that I found out, just put it all together, just simple, it makes a lot of sense. We've talked about this before on this channel, and you can look at the videos. But if it was in space, the archway would actually be a circle. The whole thing would be a circle. But since it's on the ground like this, it just looks like an arch, like my head. See, let's imagine my head. It would look like that, like my head. There, that's how it would look. But if the ground wasn't there, it would be a whole circle. And the arch, the yellow arch that looks like a small circle, is actually the other end of the portal. And when you see the yellow, that means it's activated, apparently. And it would also be a circle. And so actually what you're walking through is the center of a circle, not really an arch. You're walking through the very center of the circle, and it's placed, you know, with the ground in the very center. So that's that kind. I think the case is also the same with the big one that's 100 feet. You're only seeing half of it. I think the other half of it is actually underneath the ground, and you're walking through the center. And what happens with the second kind is people have experiences, different weird psychological experiences. Everybody has it. Who is in there or goes into the fog or the smoke or the mist. Even if they don't think they have it, they'll have missing time. They'll be like 2 hours is gone. Or you fall asleep and you wake up in another spot that you fell asleep in. And you're like, I remember being amazed at seeing fog coming and being like, this is it, we're in a portal, and then falling asleep. Why would I fall asleep when that just happened? That's impossible. I wouldn't fall asleep when I'm super excited. And then wake up somewhere else. Okay, something weird's happening. So, that's what a friend told me. And the things that happened, pretty cool, right? All right, so it happened again, and it didn't post. Maybe there's some weird rule or something that's programmed. Why don't you just do it regularly? When they hypothetically open it, does that entity come out hypothetically wish to take you back? Hypothetically, with a small one, yes. But hypothetically, humans can't go through unless they're escorted with some device that prevents them getting irradiated because there's some terrible radiation in the smaller one because it's a transportation one. The human body is not intended to go through it, so they have to go through with the someone who has the thing that makes it less dangerous. Does that make any sense? I hope so. But that's the information. Dougie Fresh. That's the truth. That's some real deal Holyfield. I would do it, some yet. There have been reports of people being offered to go in. I have not been offered to go into the small one, but I would go. I would go. I would go. But you have an overwhelming sense of knowing that it's dangerous. You just know that thing is dangerous. Don't go near it. You just know. And it's probably something that's imparted to you through intent, through the liman. And those smaller ones and the bigger ones, somewhere around, if you look carefully or you have infrared flashlight, you will see small little kind of emerthers, the small grays, and they are operating the portal. Because the portal is a technology. It's not a psychological, esoteric thing. The portal is actually a piece of technology. So they're operated. And there's always these little guys who are operating the portal. But not only are they operating the portal, think about it. If you're going to have some technology like that, you would need to monitor the area versus jets and military and all these other weird things. But you'd also need to sustain and make sure everything's okay with the portal and everything around it. So, 6, I haven't seen your question, but I'm going to roll up, see what Dougie's idea was and everything. Can we send a little robot? That would be really cool. Send a little robot. That'd be awesome. Yes, it's true. You actually may have been in a portal then, Czar, because they do have a blue light that comes above it, and sometimes like sparkles or bluish sparkles come up from the ground. Oftentimes people do hold hands going into the larger one. But the weird thing is you can be separated and both have completely different experiences. I think it's just more for the emotional support going in. Let's see what else. You guys receive my questions? No, 631, I'm not receiving your questions. That's so weird. David, thank you for being here. Okay, gang, any more questions before we're going to wrap it up here in a minute? We'll do our ending prayer. Our ending meditation location. You guys think about those locations? All right. Okay, I think that's it for the episode. Now let's think of a Maharishi location. Every episode, live show we do, we always end on picking a location and using the power of intent to try and make a difference. There's something called the Maharishi effect, which has been studied time and time again. And the Maharishi effect has proven statistically, time and time again, that the power of thought affects the physical world. They've tried it on cities to reduce the crime, and time again, it's worked. It's stunning. It sounds like it's impossible. But please, if you don't believe, just do the research. So that's what we do at the end of every episode. We do a quick little Maharishi prayer, and we keep it in mind for a little bit after at the end of the episode. So somebody pick a topic for this week, for this episode. Someone pick a topic. Someone pick a topic. All right, and we'll get the next topic that I see come up. That's the one we're going to use for our Maharishi. Okay? It does work. The power of intent does work. We just had 2 amazing testimonies come in, heartwarming testimonies. One we're not even going to talk about, but you guys heard about the last one, which was amazing. Multiple myelomas. Someone had went to multiple doctors, and the multiple doctors said multiple myelomas. There it is. The very first one we got was Czar Storms, and that's Peace on Earth. It's a big one, and I think it's a really good one. And with Super Sleuth's little addition, Peace on Earth, and especially calm, a lot of peace on the Mexican border especially, and war zones. Okay, so that's our Maharishi location. And prayer is peace on earth. So don't forget, gang. This universe, this world, is not just matter. Matter is meaningless without consciousness. Consciousness doesn't exist without matter either. They're a tapestry woven together. They're 2 things woven together. They're not separate. And because they're woven together, you can affect matter with your mind. They've proven it in study after study. So remember, thoughts matter. Your intent matters. You matter. So please make sure your thoughts are positive. Please think about peace on earth. Please uplift each other. Thank you, Super, so much for staying with us. Thank you, everyone, for being with us for an hour and a half. You guys have been amazing. Really appreciate it. I've got 16 thumbs up. That's so sweet. And please, it's really cool to do a crowdsourced UFO investigation. Please do some more Peru investigation. If you have any ideas, email us at alienprotocols@gmail.com. Let's get at that Peru case. It's really freaking exciting. And if you want to support us, you could do that PayPal thing. Love you, Colleen. Love you, Super. Thank you so much for making it, Super, despite the blackout and everything. We did it. 631. Thank you so much for being here, 631. I've never met you before. I don't remember. And I really appreciate your time and your thoughtful questions tonight. That was really, really cool. Thank you, brother or sister. Julie, Omar, Nilberto. I mean, all of the awesome people, all of our buddies. This is a family, all of us. See you guys every night. I just love it.
Omar, yo hablo también, sí, claro, por supuesto yo hablo español. Omar, ay Dios mío, ¿qué pasó con eso? Claro, yo hablo, pero yo soy un gringo, sí, pero yo hablo.
Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew. Thank you, Dougie. Really appreciated your conversations tonight. Much love to everybody. Okay, you guys hang up. No, you hang up. I can't hang up, you hang up. Ayin, I love you. Thank you for being with us, Ayin. All night, everybody. Thank you for supporting this channel and our work and what we're doing. Oh, it's Brendan Duffy. What's up, dog? Fist bump. Zarstorm, you also have the coolest profile picture. Julian, you know I love you, Julian. You are a freak, and I love it. I'm a freak too, brother. Julian is my buddy. Love you, Czar. Love you, everybody. You hang up first. David, thank you for being with us. I'm not going to hang up first. You guys hang up first. The Duff is in the house. The Duff is in the house. The Duff is in the house. Sebastian, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Sebastian. Good night, everybody. Good night, Colleen. Have a fantastic weekend. I love you guys. Let me see who else I missed. Oh, there's so many different names up here. If I scroll up, I'll miss the new typing. Anyway, gang, there's some interesting updates on Malmstrom. We got a couple new pieces of information, so we're going to do probably just a Malmstrom investigation and then a Peru one. I love you guys. Looks like I froze. Good night, guys. I love you. Wow, that's so cool. It froze. That is awesome. Good night, S. Abe. Good night, S. Abe. Third phase was here. How cool is that? Can you guys still hear me? You guys still hear me? Oh, you can. Okay, that's weird. The picture's frozen. Blake and Brett, if you guys are still here, wow. That was so cool to have you guys actually here watching. That was really interesting and neat. And I think you guys did a lot of... I should have had just a whole conversation with you guys. Are you guys still here? Brett or Blake, are you still here? I want to talk to you guys. Brett or Blake, are you still here? If they are, we're going to have a little chat. Okay, wait a second. Super's got a little telepathy game she wants to play. Do you want to try and do this right now? Super, people are dropping off the channel fast. I think Brett and Blake dropped off too before I got to ask them cool questions. I wasn't on my toes. I should have stopped and asked them questions. I didn't really think it was them. I thought it was a joke. Okay, people are dropping off pretty fast. Super, if you want to do something. Oh, try calling your pet by visualizing them to come to you. That's a great one, Super. I love that. That gives you multiple different ways to connect with your pet. I like that too. I'm still here, 631. I'm like, F it. Let's see who bought it. Now we're gonna have the coolest show ever, right? The people who didn't have that little extra bit of curiosity and faith missed out on the best show, the best secret show ever. Interesting, Super. I didn't know that. Interesting. I think a lot of pets know when we're coming too from a distance. They sure do. It's the after show. This is the after party. That's right. This is the after show party. Whew. After party. Well, gang, I think we've been self-indulgent enough with the ending, right? I love you guys, and I really appreciate everyone's time so much. And this was a fun show. I actually giggled a lot and had fun in this show. So, anyway, I love you guys. I love you, Super. Thank you. I have to end with a happy dance, do I? Bunny, 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 bunny. That was the owl at the end. And then I love you guys. Good night. Queen of the King, good night. Julie, good night. Should we end with a psychokinetic feat? Should I try something psychokinetic? In front of everybody? Like a bend a fork or a knife? See if I can. Do you want to try and do it live? Think I should do that for the last couple of people? The first thing that pops up on the screen, how about a spoon or a knife? Because I only have like 2 forks left after all the shenanigans. You want to do that? That would be fun. Someone say something on the screen. One of those utensils. Oh, she hates it. She hates it. No, I'm not going to levitate. Knife. Oh, okay. All right. So, we'll go for a knife. Turn around the camera here. I'm going to turn on the light so you guys can see. This is not stage. Okay, we've got one. Here's one knife. Or this knife. One of those two. Why don't we do both? Let me do both. Let me do both. Ooh, I felt good. Uh-oh, it froze. My screen froze. Did you guys see the screen there or no? Dang, it froze. It froze. Darn it. Well, gang. Can you guys see anything? Or did it all freeze? It's over. That's so funny. The screen is so frozen right now. Can you guys hear anything? Wow, that's so weird. Did you see how quickly I bent both those? Like nothing's happened. Could you see that happened? Did you guys even see it or no? I felt really cocky and I felt my right arm surging with light. Wow, everything went black. Now, what the heck is going on with my camera? What the frick is going on with everything? I burnt out the phone, apparently. You can hear, though. Okay. Oh, wow, we're back. Nice. Okay. I wanted you to see this on the ground. So, whoa. So you saw that it's... let me turn the light so you can see it is broken and bent. There's the light. You can see it's bent there, right? Okay, I want you to see the other one. All right. Now the other one is bent over there. Okay? All right. I love you guys. I'm going to go. We'll work on that one later. They're just parlor tricks, gang. They're just little parlor tricks with the mind. I love you guys. Sweet dreams. Thank you so much for staying with us and watching. If you'd like any of our tips or any of our stuff, please just email or write us and we will send you our suggestions, our tips for how to improve your psychic stuff or whatever you want. I love you guys. Sweet dreams. Thank you, Super. Thank you, everyone.